The question we're asking is why are so many people afraid of marriage, right? And so we're going to be addressing some of the reasons, some of the skepticism behind or surrounding marriage in our culture these days. We're going to unpack, right, some of the reasons behind as to why people are afraid of marriage. And hopefully by the end of this month, by the end of this new series that we're going to be introducing on today, we're going to be able to provide truth, hope, and maybe even share some clarity. So for those who are still questioning and asking if marriage is still worth it. And so in the spirit of that, we're introducing a new series this month of August, and we're calling it Valuable Marriage.
Yes,
Valuable Marriage. Valuable Marriage. Welcome back to my Darling Bride podcast, powered by Refuge and Fortress Network. My name is Yemi Emmanuel Oludansi. I go by PY.
And I'm Loni Oludansi.
On this podcast, we dig, we discover, and we deploy biblical gems for the building or rebuilding of kingdom homes and relationships.
Yes, we are on a mission to equip couples on how to build on a rock solid foundation, cultivate a culture of respect and honor, invest intentionally and consistently in your marriage or your relationship, defend your union, and lastly, empower one another towards purpose fulfillment.
Absolutely. Like we always say, this is where love meets legacy, but I really like to say that this is where real love meets real talk. We got a good one for you on today. Let's get it. All right, so the question is, why are people afraid of marriage in this day and age? What are some skepticism that is surrounding marriage in this day and age?
I mean, if you look on social media or you hear people talk, especially when the topic of marriage is brought up, you hear some people say, oh, nah, y'all can have that. I don't want that. Or, I'm good. I'm enjoying my single life. I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want to have to commit to anybody. You know what? I don't need that in my life. Like you hear a lot of comments that just seem like their life is just better off not being married, and it comes from somewhere. It's not just like, oh, there's some people that are like, oh, I'm not interested. I'm not the kind of person that needs to be married. And that's fine because it is biblical. You don't have to get married, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be married, right? You just have to follow the rules and regulations that comes with not being married.
Yes.
But then, you then have people that it might have been something they were interested in or something they've seen value in. But then over the years, it just seems like there's some kind of stereotype around it and some kind of like stigma around marriage that makes people be like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want that.
And I think for the most part, a lot of times it's coming from a place of fear. A place of fear of something. Whether you know it or you don't know it. When you look at the root of the issue as to why you're like, marriage is not for me, is because you have not been made to see value in marriage. Hence the title of the series for this month, Valuable Marriage. We're talking about seeing marriage as something valuable, not something that you shun away, not something that you shy away from or say, I don't want that. I don't want no parts of that. Something valuable. Nobody ever says, oh, making money. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't. No. Why? Because we see value in money. You understand what I'm saying? And money has gotten a lot of bad reps over the years.
It has.
They're even in the Christian community. Money is the root of all evil. And because of that, some holiness movement people, they do all kinds of stuff to stay away from money, but that didn't last too long because when they can't feed their family, they can't put a roof over their head, clothes on their back. They're like, okay, maybe we should get a little bit of money, right? So if you follow what I'm saying, so they can't turn their back against money. And in the same breath, if you see value in marriage, it would be something you embrace, not shy away from. And so we're not going to cover all of that on this episode. We're going to take it step by step. Today, we really just want to talk about why are people afraid of marriage?
Yeah.
More importantly, perhaps we should say, why are people afraid of commitment?
Commitment, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what marriage is. It's sacrifice and it's commitment.
Yes.
So this one person will come rain, come shine, no matter what. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You are with me.
Yeah.
You know, in the spirit of commitment, I think one of the things that helped me a lot, really, in the beginning of our relationship, I just thought to myself, like, man, you know what? There are people in our lives that no matter what we do, they are not ever going to be in our lives. Your siblings, for example, they're never going to stop being your siblings.
Yeah.
Your children are never going to stop being your children.
Yeah.
Your parents are never, no matter what you do, no matter how separated, maybe you don't talk to each other, maybe whatever the case, maybe life has gone in multiple different directions, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that that's still your sister.
Still, yeah.
In my family, for example, there's a mark on my chest that is indicative of the Royu family in the city of Ondo, in Ondo State that I'm from. And I'm number seven, seven of 9.
Yeah.
I'm number 7 of 9, right? From one father and multiple women, right? But at the end of the day, even my stepbrothers and my stepsisters, right? They're not here physically, but whenever we come together, that line, that mark that's on our chest tells us that we're siblings.
Yeah.
You can't take that off.
You can't take it. Yeah.
You can't rub it off.
That.
You can't change that. Right. And so in the beginning of our relationship, I had to look at you and say, you know what? I'm going to put you in the position of somebody that I just cannot get rid of.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much I try, it's just not, you just can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. And so when you go beyond, this is some stranger who is coming to my life and bringing their thing, their life, their issue, their baggages, their benefits, whatever the case may be. And you're still thinking of them in that light, that a year ago, I didn't know you. Why should I bother if a year from now, I don't know you anymore? It's not the case with us because we're thinking to ourselves, man, God literally brought us together. We were created together to be one with each other. There was a missing piece and you are that piece.
Yeah.
And now that I have you, I feel complete, you know, and I don't want to do anything that's going to get rid of that. I would be incomplete if you were not here anymore.
Yeah.
The moment you maintain that mentality, you're not afraid of commitment anymore. If you can commit to your children, if you can commit to your siblings, if you can commit to all these other people who are part of your life, you can absolutely commit to your spouse. Surely you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And, you know, it kind of brings me to like a point I was thinking about just now where one of the issues really is that marriage is misrepresented. That's really what the issue is. One of the issues. You know, you either have two extreme ends.
Okay.
It's either you get the perfect fairy tale, everything is glamorous, everything is perfect, we ain't got no issues, we don't argue, we kiss each other's hand and feet, we're good, we're all dandy and everything. You know what I'm saying? It's all love and bubbles and fairy tales and butterflies flying everywhere. And then you have the other extreme end where it's like it's
war
horrible.
every day.
It's prison.
Yeah.
It's like you're locked up and you're miserable. And it's like people forget there's a middle ground. It really doesn't have to be any of the extreme ends. There is a middle ground. Not everything is rosy and perfect, but things are beautiful.
Let me just pause right there and ask you this question. Why would the fairy tale marriage cause someone to be afraid of marriage?
Because it feels fake. It feels like it's not real.
Or perhaps it feels unattainable.
All that. It feels like it's too far to reach, right? Like it's like on a pedestal.
Exactly.
Like, bro,
it is like, why bother?
I gotta put
it, because you gotta have the perfect.
You have to be perfect.
Everything. You gotta be perfect.
You have to be. I think that's the issue.
Right?
You have to be perfect.
Right.
You gotta be no flaws in everything. And that's Yeah. Actually, that's a perfect reason.
It's like I got my stuff.
It's too much pressure. Yeah. It's too much pressure to put on somebody to say everything is perfect and fairy tale, because that's not the truth. You're not a perfect human being. You make mistakes. You fall short sometimes, and that's okay. So that fairy tale where everything is perfect and dandy, it's just not real, to be quite honest. And on the extreme end,
marriage misrepresented.
Yeah, it makes it misrepresented. And to the extreme end, it's like, it's not all prison for everybody. Not everybody's in a miserable situation. Everybody just skips out on the middle part where it's like, yeah, we're not perfect, but we're happy in our own perfect bubble. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like that misrepresentation happens a lot when you look at movies and TV and social media, and you know, some of the things people say, even in Christianity, even in churches, you have this misrepresentation where you think everybody is the holiest of the holiest, and they come to church and paint like everything is perfect, and as soon as they step into the car, they doing some crazy stuff with their spouses, you know. So it's like, the misrepresentation scares people off.
You know, I will say this. You're absolutely right. One of the reasons why most people are afraid of marriage is misrepresentation. But I also want to say, because when you pull from that concept, for example, you also realize that a lot of people are also afraid of, for example, Jesus, God, Christianity. Because again, God has been misrepresented by pastors, members, you know, all kinds of stuff in the Christian word. And so because of that, I don't want nothing to do with Christianity.
I can't live up to that expectation as a Christian.
I don't want nothing to do with Christianity, whatever that looks like, whether you're not doing Christian right, or you're overdoing Christianity, or you're underdoing Christianity, whatever the case may be. It's just, or pastors with their doctrines and their regulations and all kinds of stuff that are not in the Bible, by the way. We remember Jesus talked about it. It said wicked people because they teach man commandments as doctrine. You know, so essentially we're misrepresenting Jesus. We're misrepresenting God. And it's causing people to turn their back on God and then walk away from the church. But the issue with that is you are living your life through the lens, your relationship with God is through the lens of your pastor. And that really defeats the entire point of why Jesus came. Jesus came to tear down the veil and give us direct access to the Father. So we don't have to gain access to him through somebody else. In other words, it's not somebody that's going to dictate, that should dictate your relationship with God. You ought to know him for yourself.
Yes.
In the same breath, just because you're looking at somebody else's marriage does not mean that's how your marriage will be.
Exactly.
So you can't use somebody else's experience to determine what your experience would be. You follow what I'm saying? You don't need to, like, for example, it's like if you wanted to, like, you've always seen a restaurant that's nice and beautiful and things like that. You drive past it all the time. You're thinking to yourself, man, one day I want to check out that restaurant, right? But then you go on Google, for example, right? And then you check the list of things, and you maybe you saw some reviews and something like that. You, without even reading the reviews or what the issue was exactly, you already determined in your heart that there was something wrong with that restaurant without trying it out. And then one day you go in there, you try it out, it's actually good, and you're like, man, what are people talking about? Right? Exactly. But because you read reviews and you saw what people were saying, you allowed that to keep you in this bondage of fear. Right? That must be a bad thing. It must be something I don't want because everybody else says it's not good. That's
and
like
it's
not
interesting.
life,
I like that example, because sometimes even when you look at reviews, you don't read the details of the reviews.
Exactly.
And sometimes, and we do that sometimes. Sometimes it's not even the food. Sometimes we'll be like, I'll be reading a review like, what is it? What was the bad reviews about? And then we read it and it's like, oh, this, that. It's just some people's personal experience. It doesn't speak for the whole restaurant. It doesn't speak for everybody's experience. So sometimes you need to take a closer look look.
The staff,
exactly.
the kitchen,
you need to take a closer look. You need to do a little bit more research. You need to look deeper into the situation before making your choice. And I feel like that's some of the issues people have. They go with the face value and the surface level and be like, yeah, I'm good.
You've got to find out for yourself. Yeah. That's number one.
And another thing I wanted to point out, and because we're in 2025, we're in the age of social media, I mean, everything you research, you look to social. I mean, we don't watch the news anymore. We get all our news from social media now. So people, and I feel like we've talked about this multiple times on our podcast where we said social media is a world. It's a world that people created.
Yes.
Whatever I put out there, and even if it is real life to some extent, it's not the full picture.
No, what I meant by it's not real life is it's a virtual reality. It's reality, but it's virtual.
But what I'm even trying to point out, for example, for a couple like us, we have a social media page. We post family stuff on there. What you see is real life. What you see is what happens in our life, but it's not the full picture. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can't use your situation, your marriage, and see 1, 2, 3, 4 posts and say, I want what you guys have. Or like, even if you say I want, or just pretty much trying to compare your situation to mine, because at the end of the day, it's like what you said before, your marriage is not going to look exactly like mine. Now, you could follow the same blueprints, the same foundation, like, you know, putting God in it and seeing some of the things that you could do in your marriage. But it's not a thing of comparing and saying, well, this is exactly how I want my husband to be. Because you don't know how my husband is, really. You don't know how I am, my wife. We tell you, we'll explain to you, but that's what's working for us. It might not be the same situation. But I wanted to point that out because, yes, social media is what we put out there. What I put out there, that's what I want you to see. But I didn't put our whole life. I didn't put our whole, do you understand what I'm saying? I didn't put the full picture. Do we argue? Absolutely. But I'm not going to post that up. What's that going to do for you? But don't then look at that and see all the glamorous things and you're like, well, they're perfect couple. No, we're not perfect. We have issues too, but we work through them behind the scenes. What you don't see is the work. You see the result of the work, but the work is being done. Absolutely. So people need to understand that, yes, social media will paint you a picture, but you have to be very careful because there's people on there that will paint you the wrong picture completely.
Absolutely.
You know, so I feel like people need to understand, especially this generation, we feed a lot off of social media. It's consuming. It is a virus. It's like serious. Please filter and just be careful with what it is you're consuming when it comes to information like this.
Another reason why I would say a lot of people are afraid of marriage, of that commitment, is because of high divorce rate and broken homes. But I am going to say this, you know, we are, for the most part, a product of our environment.
Yes.
You know, and if you are in an environment where divorce is normal, broken homes is normal, dad's never been around, that's normal. If you're in that environment, you think that is normal.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
It is only here in the West that you hear divorce. It's so rampant.
Yeah.
You've got an entire industry.
Yeah.
In the billions.
Yeah.
Over the breaking of homes and marriages. If you're from Africa, West Africa, for example, divorces are not a thing.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And it's not to make justification to say, oh, you know, there aren't reasons why people don't leave their husbands or walk away or separate. Like, we're not talking about that. I'm just talking about, let's be loud about the loud things and let's be quiet about the quiet things. Here in the West, divorce is loud. You know what is loud though in Africa? Family values. They're loud about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Culture.
Yeah. Loving one another, respect and honor. Those are things that are loud in that culture, in that environment.
It's not to say it doesn't exist. Yeah.
And that sustains homes and marriages much longer than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So you are afraid of marriage, perhaps because of the high rates of divorce in America, or London, or wherever you're from, right? Because that's all you see.
Yeah.
What I'm saying essentially is switch your view, bro.
Yeah.
Like, look at something else.
Yeah.
Find those who have had long-lasting, healthy, sustainable marriages.
Yep, because they're there.
Because they're out there.
They're there.
There is no way you're going to be a product of divorce, for example, if your parents are not divorced, your parents' siblings are not divorced, meaning your uncles, your aunties, you know what I'm saying, your cousins' parents and things like that. You know, your grandparents. I mean, you've got a generation of people who sustain their home.
Yeah.
In good health too,
influences
and sound mind.
Yeah,
it does not matter what's going on out there. You know that that's not your reality because you're not from that lineage,
and it would dictate a lot of things.
And it changes your approach to marriage.
Exactly,
because now you see marriage from that positive lens, not from this other negative lens. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why it's scary. Because yes, it is a scary thing. Yes, nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to give their heart to somebody and then have it broken because of lack of honor, you know, just just wickedness, really, to be quite honest. If you bring it down to anything, it's just lack of satisfaction, not being content with what you have, and wanting more and more, just constantly looking out the window, and then not having agreements in your home and your relationship. Just a whole lot of stuff that causes division and divorce in marriages and homes. Now, some of them are justified, some of them are not. But at the end of the day, it does not change the fact that when this thing happens, it has a ripple effect. It affects the kids, it affects the home, it affects everything else. You follow what I'm saying? It affects the kids and how they view marriage moving forward, right? It's a whole thing. It's trauma and everything like that. But if we can just make up our mind that we're going to do it right the first time with the help of God. Again, we can't do this in our strength. We can't do it in our own power. But if we are submitted to God, He who starts it will finish it. If God is the one who started your home, guess what? He will sustain your home. God never does anything halfway. He's not going to start it and then stop it. He's not going to. It's not going to forsake you. If He's the one who is starting the home, He will sustain the home. If He's starting the marriage, He will sustain the marriage. If He's starting the family parenting, it will sustain those kids. If He's starting the business, it will sustain the business. If He's starting the ministry, it will sustain the ministry. And how do you ensure that God is starting and sustaining your home? By submitting it to God. Literally, it's not hard. Let me tell you, it's not hard. It's not as hard as people make it seem, right? It's not as hard. If you submit it to Him, He will take it over. He would, because you can get prophecies all day. You get revelations all day and say, God told me to start this thing. Sure, you can go and start it. But if you don't submit it to him, He's not going to sustain it. You follow what I'm saying? What's her name? Anna in the Bible. She'd been praying and asking God for a child. The child didn't come until she made a statement. God, if you give me this son, I will submit it to Him, to you rather. And the moment she said, well, I know you're starting it. You're the one giving me this child, but I promise you, I'm going to give it right back to you. I'm going to submit it right back to you so that you can sustain the child. And boom, she got pregnant, gave birth, and really submitted the child to God. And it became Samuel. Are you following what I'm saying on tonight? So essentially, that's why divorces happen, because many homes are not truly submitted to God. Even pastors. Even pastors have marriages that are not submitted to God. They themselves are not fully submitted to God. Their spouses are not submitted to God. And then they wake up one day and they have irreconcilable differences. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, naturally, we all have irreconcilable differences. No, honestly, we all don't get along. We all don't like each other. To be quite honest, naturally, I'm speaking from a natural standpoint now. It is God who tames our human nature. It is God who tames the beastly nature of man.
Yeah.
And causes us to actually love. Naturally, we hate each other.
Yeah.
If you have love, it's not natural. It is the fruit of the Spirit. If you have joy, it's not natural. It is the fruit of the Spirit. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you have a long suffering, if you have patience for one another, again, it's not natural. These things are a product of the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying now? And so if we try to function in the natural, the things that are meant to be spiritual, we will find ourselves in hot soup. Because marriage is spiritual.
It is.
And the thing of the spirits is born by the Spirit and sustained by the Spirit.
Yep.
The thing of the flesh is born by the flesh and sustained by the flesh. Now let me ask you, between the Spirit and the flesh, which one is going to last longer?
That's right.
Let me leave that question to you. You answer that question. Comment down below what you think is going to last longer.
Yeah.
Right? We're trying to sustain spiritual things from a place of flesh. It would never work.
It's not going to work.
It would never last. But when you move into the realm of the Spirit and you submit it to God, you begin to apply the fruit of the Spirit to it, you get sustainability. That's the problem. That's the difficulty for a lot of people to do. They don't know how to move from the realm of the flesh to the realm of the Spirit.
Yeah. And that actually takes me to the next point before we close.
Yeah.
In that same breath, it is work. People
are afraid of work.
Listen, you want the benefits, but you don't want to put in the work.
Hey,
let me tell you something.
You want the benefit, but you don't want the burden.
That's right.
Boom, boom, boom.
You want the benefits, but you don't want the burden. The thing about it is, people don't realize that everything in this life requires work. Even being lazy
is work.
Is work.
It's hard work.
The simplest of things requires work. So when you go into marriage and you just think things will just happen by thin air, you don't put in the work. You don't tend it. You don't water it. You don't. Do you know what I'm saying? You think things will just happen naturally. People are focused on it being a contractual agreement rather than a covenant. Contract you can break anytime, you can move on from it anytime, but covenant requires you to submit yourself, to put in the work, to pour yourself into it. You can't get the benefit without carrying the burden. I'm sorry, it's not just gonna come to you on a platter of gold.
The only way Jesus was able to wear the crown was because he carried the cross.
Burden. Come on now.
The only way Jesus was able to wear the crown was because he carried the cross. What does that mean? There is no crown without a cross. There is no benefit without a burden. There is no glory without a story. And you're right on that. That's one of the hardest things for people to do. That is one of the hardest things to do. When they see the work that it takes to sustain a good home, they're like, oh, Lord.
Hands off. They don't want it.
I'd rather not.
They don't want it. But you want the benefit.
But you want the benefit. And I'm going to take you back to what you said earlier in the beginning of the episode, actually, where you talked about how it's biblical to not be married if you don't want to be married. Jesus said it. He says some people are eunuchs by choice, eunuchs by birth, eunuchs by other people making them eunuchs. You follow what I'm saying? And he said it's because Peter was saying, and he was asking Jesus, like, so, I mean, what's the point of marriage and things like that? And Jesus was essentially saying it's not given to everybody to be able to handle not being married because some are eunuchs by those three reasons, right? But for you that you have the strength, sure, go ahead and do it. But if you don't have the strength, which Paul later clarifies, right, by saying that instead of burning with passion, just go ahead and get married. Which is what you were saying. That if you're not going to get married, be ready to
burn with passion. Be ready to burn with passion.
Be ready to
that requires work too.
You get it?
You're running away from the work. You're going to find another work as a kingdom person, as a Christ follower. There is work. You got to put in the work.
And in my opinion, to be quite honest, it's easier to be married than not.
Most definitely.
Like the work it takes to sustain yourself being single.
Most definitely.
I'm
sorry. For me, my own personal testimony, my own personal, glory and thank to God and giving him all the glory is just because life is easier.
Yeah.
Life is easier when you marry the right person.
Yes.
Life is easier. Let me tell you something. Like, you don't have to go through this life alone. You don't. There are people that are single and doing all the craziness they want to do, and living the soft life, but they're still alone. They're still alone in this life, and they struggle personally because they're doing this life alone. You don't have to do it. But trust me, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
There's work in it. And the work is easier when you're doing it together.
With
you're
the
not
right
doing
person.
the work alone either. You have somebody you're on this journey with. And remember, it's not just you and that person. There is a third person in this equation that actually carries that burden for you.
Yeah,
there is a third person in this equation that actually helps you and makes the work easier. Come on.
And
the person is Jesus. The person is God. If you didn't know, the person is the Holy Spirit. If you didn't know,
and there's a lot of reasons, right? There's a lot of reasons why most people don't want to do marriage. There are a lot of reasons why a lot of people are afraid of marriage. But we find that those three reasons, for the most part,
one of the heavy ones.
Oh, the heavy ones, right? Divorces left, right, and center, especially if you're from the West. You've got what you just said.
Misrepresentation of
marriage. They want burden. They want benefits without burdens and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the old unrealistic expectations, right? There's
set the bar way.
Yeah, it's like that alone in and of itself, an unrealistic expectation of your significant other. From your significant other, unrealistic expectation from you that you place on yourself, and then unrealistic expectation from society. Like if you were going to like your typical traditional Nigerian church, for example, in America, my God, you don't stand a chance. Is what I'm saying. But we're not going to get into that, right? But your society can put unholy expectations on you that just causes you to just say, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing this, right? For example, I remember when we first got married, we got married and we were getting ready to just get a lot of things done, and the pressure was on. Like, you guys are married now. When is the next baby coming? When are you going to have a child? When are you going to have a child? And I'm, man, calm down, right? But we eventually gave into that pressure because that's the society we were in. That kind of expectation. Now, that's a good expectation. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
But there are other expectations that are just choking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And depending on the kind of environment you find yourself or whatever kind of expectation, but there are some unrealistic, ungodly, unholy expectations that are placed on people that causes them to say, I don't want any part of this, right? And then you too can put unholy expectations on yourself based on what you were saying. Social media things. You're seeing things on social media. You expect your man to be like that. You expect your woman to be like that. You want to be pleased like that person pleases their spouse. You're giving yourself unnecessary headaches. When that is the case, right? I mean, there are wild expectations. I expect my man to be this way, my woman to be that way, or my man's got to be making this much money. My woman got to look this way. They've got to talk this way. They've got to sound this way. They got to go to this school. They got to have that job. You got to have a certain kind of car, a certain kind of house. I mean, you have wild expectations of yourself, of your significant other, that when those expectations are not met, you're disappointed. You're frustrated. You're giving up.
Now all of a sudden marriage is a bad thing.
No bueno, right? We want you to do us a favor. If there are other reasons that you know of, big reasons, there are a lot of reasons, hundreds of reasons. We can't sit here and talk about them. But if there are other reasons that you know that we didn't mention, put it in the comment chat. There are some spiritual reasons. There are some family, generational issues and things like that. But we don't want to go in that direction, right? We don't want to go in that direction.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah. We don't want to go in that direction. But I really do hope that we have shared a tip or two to help solidify your kingdom union, not only with yourself, but also with others, and most importantly, with God on today.
Yes. Don't forget to like, share with your friends and your family. Hit that subscribe button and comment down below.
And until next time, be the light.
Be the salt.
And remember, all things are possible if you believe. This is Valuable Marriage, week 1. We've got 3 weeks of this. It's going to be powerful. God bless you.
Next time.
See you on the next one. Bye-bye.